try! What a try from Clark! Surely has got the try! What a try from Clark!
Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Talk Sport here on YouTube, and today we're doing a very special video. We're doing a Premier League prediction video. Who is going to be right on this one is the interesting question. So we're going to be projecting the 2022-23 Premier League season, and I'm joined by special guests Stu Davis and Seb True all the way from Switzerland to predict the Premier League table this season. And well, welcome lads to the video tonight, and thanks for joining us and sending in your predictions. Now, we're going to start off with our predictions, so on who's going to win. So basically, how we're going to do it is there's going to be a point per league position that you get right, and then the person with the most points at the end of the season will win a prize. The person with the least will get a forfeit. What I haven't done is told the other members of the team that I sent their predictions in about this one, because I want people to actually do the predictions. So you didn't read the small print, lads. Sorry, but you know you're in a battle here. But anyway, yeah, we got the predicting champions, who's going to get in the top four, who's going to get Europa League, who's going to get Conference League, and who's going to get relegated. It's an interesting one. I've got the graphics up now, the charts up with the Premier League table and who's going to finish where. Obviously, I've gone for surprise prize Liverpool to win the league. Manchester City second.
Can I just interrupt? How are Burnley going to finish 20th, Stu?
Shit.
I never even noticed that. How did I not even notice that when doing the... Well, that's Stu already a point down, isn't it?
Stan has been editing my team. Just
That's minus 20. That's 20 penalty points already. That's
put me a point behind.
How did I didn't even spot that. How did I not even spot that? So I've got Liverpool winning the league, City second, Chelsea third, but their pre-season is questionable. But you know, it's interesting. Tottenham fourth, Arsenal fifth, United sixth, West Ham seventh, and then got Villa, Leicester, Newcastle, Palace, Brighton, Wolves, Southampton, Brentford, Everton, and Bournemouth making up the rest of the pack, with Fulham, Leeds, and Forest to go down. Now let's look at Stu. Stu, do you want to go through yours and explain why Burnley are in the bottom three when they're not even in the Premier League?
I'm pretty sure that's some sort of typo, and it should say Bournemouth. But a very special typo.
I was scared that I might have some typos when I knew that he was going to put this up, but that really tops it all.
That is special.
Oh dear. Go on, Stu. Talk us through your predictions then.
Well, I got Liverpool top, but that was a bit of bias because it was a coin cost between Liverpool and City for me, so I just went Liverpool. And then City second, Tottenham third, Arsenal fourth, Chelsea fifth, Man United sixth, West Ham seventh, Leicester eighth, Newcastle ninth, Villa 10th, Brighton 11th, Crystal Palace 12th, Brentford 13th, Wolves 14th, Leeds 15th, Everton 16th, Nottingham Forest 17th, Southampton 18th, Fulham 19th, and Bournemouth 20th.
Both ex-teams managed by Eddie Howe. I'll let you off the hook with that one. Seb, do you want to go through yours and then we can all compare after we've gone through the job lot?
Okay, so I went for Liverpool as winners, and you know this is not biased. Everyone knows that I'm the first critic of Liverpool FC.
You are.
I am. But then I think if we're just talking probability-wise, it's more likely that the pattern's broken rather than City winning 3 in a row or 5 of the last 6. Just talking probability-wise, I think it's going to change, and I don't see anyone else challenging except for Liverpool. Then second is City, so those top 2 we know as per usual will never change. Well, not for the near future at least. Well, I could be wrong as well. Tottenham third, I think the Conte effect is really important. I'm not too convinced by their signings this summer. I think it's a bit of a mismatch, square pegs and round holes, but I still think the Conte effect is massive and gets them third. Newcastle, because I like what Eddie Howe started doing, and I like their transfers as well. Chelsea, because I think they're fifth, because I think the Tuchel effect might start wearing off as well, where maybe the second or third season where he starts getting agitated with people, creating tension. And I'm not impressed with their transfers, but they're still a strong side. Man United, because I don't understand the Ten Hag effect. I just don't get it. Debate me on that. Arsenal 7th, improving on last season. Crystal Palace, I like their business, so that they break into the top 8. West Ham 9th, because I think they can't maintain the Europa League kind of form. Well, they will be playing in Europe as well, so that will weigh heavily on them. Brighton 10th, because I'm a big fan of Potter. Everyone knows I love Potter. I love Brighton. I love what they're doing. I think that they always bring through young players and have a great academy. Aston Villa 11th, and I think Gerrard will probably be one of the first managers to go. Everton in 12th, and I think Lampard might be another one that will go soon. Wolves in 13th, because they've practically done no business, and that squad is aging slowly. Well, not that much, but still, it just doesn't seem fresh. Nottingham, because I'm not actually impressed with the way they played in the Championship. I think they're the most impressed with the top 3, weirdly enough. Leicester in 15th, no business again, and they might lose Maddison, so they just will keep dropping, in my opinion. Southampton, because I think Hasenhüttl will perform miracles with that really terrible squad that he's got. Fulham in 17th, because they can just score goals, and that'll probably get them out of the relegation zone. And the bottom 3, Brentford, Leeds, and Bournemouth. Leeds, because I don't trust Jesse Marsch to actually do it. They've lost key players. Brentford, because I think second season effect, cliche. They'll start leaking goals, and I don't think they can score a lot of goals. And Bournemouth, because I think they are just genuinely the worst team in the Premier League. And that's not saying it in a bad way. I think it's a strong Premier League, but I think they're the worst of the 20. Unlike Stu, who thinks Burnley are.
Technically, you're both right. But I've got a song. We're going to win the league. We're going to win the league. And now you're going to believe us. Now you're going to believe us. Now you're going to believe us. We're going to win the league because Seb said so. Yay!
It's a fault. But I also thought, it's not. I usually look at last season's finishes and try comparing and doing that sort of prediction.
Yeah.
And this year I completely threw it out the window. I just thought there's no point in trying because I get it even more wrong when I try looking at seasons before. It's arbitrary. It's got to be just all kind of random, but with some sort of thought process, but not comparing with league positions from last season. If we look from, say, for instance, 9th to 15th, it could be a difference of 4 points. So what's the point of looking at last season?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I find it interesting. It said Stevie G will be one of the first managers to go. Personally, I've probably got my Stevie G rose tinted glasses on here because he's my idol, but I think he'll do okay at Villa this season. But I do agree. I think Lampard, I think Everton struggled last season and he didn't really improve them that much. They stayed up by the skin of the teeth. I agree with you with Jesse Marsch. I think Leeds staying up on the last day, I think probably one of the worst things that could happen for the club. I think they would have probably been better off going down. And that sounds really twisted, but I think it's given them false hope. And I agree that I'm not convinced by their transfer business. I think, Marsch, Rodgers and Lampard are the 3 that I think any one of those could be the first to go out of the managers, in my opinion.
I think Lampard is, I put good money on Lampard going before December at least. And even so, I never understand Everton's business even to now because, they brought in McNeil and fair enough, I think he's a good prospect, but he scored, 1 goal last season for Burnley. Is he going to be the one to replace Richarlison? The nasty Richarlison who brought forward Everton, replaced by the very tame McNeil. I don't really get it. And Tarkowski as well. I've had my criticism of Tarkowski for a while. I just don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. I really don't get it. And the fact that they've sold Richarlison, they've sold their depth as well. Let's not forget that John Joe Kenny and Delph were 2 players that just every now and then came in and filled in holes in that team. They've sold those as well. So what are they left with? McNeil and Vineg. I mean, it's just a bit meh. It's always just a bit meh with Everton, isn't it?
So that's the club.
And they've lost, and as I said, they've lost Richarlison. Calvert-Lewin still hasn't hit those heights that he did before that injury. So they're really putting all their eggs in the English basket up front.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think as much as I don't like Richarlison because of his attitude, he is a good player. He's a solid player, and he was guaranteed to get them goals. And like you said, the Everton side are a bit soft at times, and I think they need that how to put it, that spikiness about them that Richarlison had. And yes, he spent a lot of time on the floor and stuff like that, but that's football nowadays. A lot of players spend a lot of time on the floor. You can question that as much as you want, but I think like you said, the depth's gone. They've lost the key player. Calvert-Lewin's not the same player as he was, and I still think he's edging for or angling, should I say, not edging, for a move as well out the club. So yeah, because since that failed, because he was linked with moves away last summer, wasn't he, to the likes of Arsenal, and they didn't materialise. I think he's just not been on it since then, and this will be a make or break season for Calvert-Lewin's footballing career, really.
Yeah, and I'm going to add on, I talked about Vinagre coming in, this sort of left midfielder. Why are they bringing him in? Do they not believe in Mikolenko? And I also think that why did they bring in James Tarkowski? What they probably need is a calm head at the back and preferably left-footed. They should have probably got the other Burnley defender, Ben Mee.
Yeah, I agree there.
I mean, I don't think he's particularly great, Ben Mee, but at least he's someone who brings calm to that defence, which Everton so desperately need. They just havoc at the back, even when they've got Mino and Keane, who are just all over the place, not reassured fullbacks. They needed a calm head, and Tarkowski, I don't think is that one. I think Ben Mee is, but I don't think Tarkowski is the solution there.
Yeah, it's like defensive-wise as well. Lampard doesn't have a clue, right? So he needs a proper player in there. You can guide the team around.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Lampard proceeds. I'm really not.
So go back to the table. Obviously, we said we all think Liverpool win the league for different reasons. Me and Stu, because we've gone for slight bias over anything, and obviously you saying you think it, but on basis of probability, it'd be to change of command. Very unlikely that teams win 3 in a row, let alone 5 and 6. I've gone for Chelsea third, which I've kind of regret now, and you guys have gone for Spurs. So I think it's not a bad shout there. I've gone for Spurs fourth, and you guys have gone. Well, Stu's gone for Arsenal, and Seb, you've gone for Newcastle, which is a real standout one.
I'll justify this all with, firstly, Spurs, I mentioned the Conte effect. Now, I don't get their transfers. I don't understand it. I understand Spence coming in. That makes sense because Royal is a really terrible right back. He's terrible at everything. But Longley, why is Longley coming in? Conte likes to play 3 at the back, and Longley has been the worst in a 3 at the back, let alone a 2 at the back. But at 3 at the back, he is awful. Basuma coming in, which I like Basuma, but who does he replace? Bentancur, who had a great second half of the season, or Højbjerg, who is their big leader in the team? Richarlison comes in. Who does he replace in the front 3? Does he replace Son, Kulusevski, who also had a great second part of the season, or Kane? I mean, they all don't make sense. And let's not forget as well, there are certain players coming back who have not been loaned out or sold yet, like Hill, like Ndombele, like Lo Celso. These are all quality players, and I don't think they'll get those 3 out on loan or sold. So they will also be in the squad as well. Think about the amount of quality that Spurs squad has. It has to finish top 4, and especially with Conte. And Newcastle, because I like what Eddie Howe did. I really like what he did, and I think they've done some decent business. They've not gone wild, but they've done some decent business, like Sven Botman coming in. I think that's a really clever signing. Pope, I'm not the biggest fan of Pope, but I think, again, talking about the calmness of certain Burnley players, Dubravka did not have that. He was a bit erratic. Pope is a bit more calm, and that's probably what Newcastle need. If they get a good striker in who can get into goals, I think that they are very good for top 4.
And I think a lot of people say about last season, like when Eddie Howe had done a good run, it's about the money being spent. But not many managers would be able to have done what he did last season. I think it was incredible the way, because they were down and gone, he recovered it. I think he did a great job last season.
And let's not forget as well, they brought in Guimaraes, who I think will have a better season than last. But also, Guimaraes wasn't getting in the team at first. He transformed John Joe Shelby, Longstaff, Willock, and Joe Linton for Guimaraes, the big signing to not get into the team. He's done wonders at that club so far. And I do hope for Howe that he has learned his lesson from last time at Bournemouth. And if he has, then Newcastle are in the right direction.
Yeah, they definitely are.
He is a good manager, Eddie Howe. I think he did well with the Bournemouth side. Obviously, last season didn't go to plan what did it when they went down, but I think he did well overall to keep him in the Premier League. What was it, 5 years? Nobody expected to stay in 5 years. And I think, okay, he blew a bit of money, a little bit, on Ryan Brewster, Dominic Solanke, etc. But Solanke actually turned out to be a decent striker when they dropped back down. So it's one of those things. I think he's good with his tactics. He likes to play attacking football as well. He's been touted to be a future England manager. Let's not go there. But I think they'll do a lot better this season. I didn't put them in the top 4 though. I think they will break into the top half of the table. I just personally thought that they might need another season before they're pushing into Europe. But to be honest, it could be anywhere between, like you said, 4th and 10th for Newcastle. I just chucked them in at 10th, and Stu's chucked them in at 9th by the looks of things as well.
Yeah, but you said that they play attacking football. Let's not forget that Eddie Howe has changed it now. How many times did they win 1-0 last season under Eddie Howe? It was really solid performances. So I think he's learned his lesson and can tighten up at the back.
Yeah. We've got some comments below. Obviously, Begoyan said Henderson to have a better season than Ramsdale. Thought Seb, he's trying to start that debate up again. Let's not go there. He said he thinks he'll be right with his predictions.
Can't light a fire if there's no gas around.
Exactly.
Yes.
He said he thinks he'll be right. We'll get to his predictions in a bit. And he said poor editing from Stanners, putting Burnley in instead of.
I can't believe you did that,
Bournemouth.
Stanners.
Oh yeah, blame the editor. Luke Tanner says Everton got the wrong centre back in the summer, which is reiterating what you said, Seb. He said Lampard to be the first to go, which is pretty much what we all said. Connor Porter reckons he'll be right. Tanner says he'll be right. Jamie Davis says Stu Davis, you legend.
Thank you.
Nick Knack says top 10 for me. To get as high as 7th will be tough for Newcastle United. That's what Tic Tac.
I think some are going to drop away.
Sorry?
I just think some are going to drop away, and we can talk about them afterwards. Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, and West Ham, and those not. But I think they'll all kind of drop away in some way.
Yeah, I kind of regret putting Leicester so high after the Schmeichel. He looks like he's off, and Maddison could potentially be off, and Fofana possibly.
And they've not brought anyone in at the moment.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's wishful thinking, and Vardy's probably going to not score as many goals, be injured as much as last season. So
yeah,
that's another factor. I think Leicester will struggle, and I think it might be Rodgers' time up because Rodgers doesn't usually last too long. So I think this might be the end for him. It's kind of weird. I put Leicester just above Southampton. Is that I'm guessing that might be the 9-0 difference that puts Leicester just above Southampton.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not fans of Brendan Rodgers, are we, Stu?
Well, we know what it's like with the collapsing of the downward spiral.
Serial Butler. And I know he had success at Celtic, but come on. It's a 2-horse race in that league.
I want to mention a team that I've put in the top 8 that might, surprise some people, and that's Crystal Palace. Yeah. And I guess people might put them lower down because it's Crystal Palace. But if you look at what Vieira did last season, it was, and you've got to give them some credit, and it's nice attacking football. They've done some clever transfers. Richards from Bayern, who can play in defence. We've got what is he called? Ebuari from Derby. I can't pronounce his name for anything. And Johnston from West Brom. So you've got the young players there, Richardson, Ebuari, whatever you pronounce it. And then you've got a more senior figure like Johnston, who actually is probably a clever transfer because Guaita is not that good. He's flip-flap hands, on crosses and shots. So I think Palace have done well, and the young players that are there at the moment will improve, like Gay or, even Zaha probably can still have a decent season. But I think Palace are good for a top 8 finish. If they just get a good run of form, I think they'll be top 10 easily, yeah.
I really hope they can keep Eze fit because I just love watching Eze. He's so exciting, brilliant football player.
Cutting in from that right hand side, isn't it, as well, and the way he can dribble. He's like a light, not as lighter. Sorry, he's like Wilfred Zaha with more potential. I think with a higher ceiling. I think for me,
different kind of player as well. He reminds me a lot. The way he just glides through players, it's just magical. But even just the whole squad, like you've got Hudson Edouard, you've got Elise, there's so much potential in that front line for Palace. And that's what I'll emphasize again. Usually it's just, getting high positions can rely on just scoring goals. And I think Palace will be able to do that.
Connor says in the comments, Eze Elise is magical for Palace. We have Nick Nack who says the thing with sacking Lampard is the squad is rubbish. Even another manager won't necessarily save them. And he also goes on to say Dak has a lot of potential at Leicester, outscored Mane by some margin in the Austrian Bundesliga. But let's look at the bottom three. We'll go through them quickly and then we can have a look at the others people's predictions as well. I went Fulham, Leeds and Forest. I've gone Forest bottom because I wasn't too sure on some of the transfers, but it turns out they've made a few more since then, and I think Lingard and Henderson could turn out to be good signings. Leeds, not convinced by Jesse March and his signings. They only just stayed up last season and I don't think they deserved it. Sorry, Leeds fans. And Fulham, I went for them because they could be hit and miss in the Premier League, and I quite like what Scotty Parker's done at Bournemouth, so I put them just to survive. But I think it'll be about a point. Stu's gone, obviously, it says Burnley, but he means Bournemouth, Fulham and Southampton, and Seb, you went Bournemouth, Leeds and Brentford.
Yes. So I'll just iterate that Brentford's problem last season. They didn't seem to get all that many goals. Now, granted, that could change, but the fact that Eriksen's gone, I think, changes a lot. Just because, let's be honest, Eriksen changed their turn in fortune near the end of the season. I thought they were doomed. I really did at some point last season. But then suddenly, Eriksen came in and it made a massive difference. I know you've got the likes of Ivan Toney and all that who can probably get goals, but I think Brentford might just drop off a bit. They've brought in some young players, but it's hard to tell how it'll go. I think they'll get caught flat-footed and maybe just go back down. Leeds, on the other hand, like you mentioned, Joe. I mean, Jesse March might be a great coach in some ways, but I think it's hard to get over Bielsa, isn't it? And Bournemouth, quite simply, because I'm not all too impressed with Bournemouth. I don't think they're the best team. I'm more impressed with Nottingham Forest with what they've done under Cooper to get into that playoff position. But I think Bournemouth are just too weak. I just don't. It's just a hunch, I can't put three bottom team. I can't put none of the promoted teams in the bottom three. So I just thought Bournemouth. As I said, Fulham can score so many goals that I think they will manage to stay up.
Shahid Shah says, Joe, Stu, Seb, how are you today? Give me five. We all give you high fives. And Jamie Burgoyne says, Nick Nack, Stu is a mentalist the highest order, in reference to Nick Nack asking about why Burnley was on the list. So we're going to have a look at the graphics now I'm hoping I put the right one up now. Yeah, for the other people in the group. So we haven't joined them in the video because otherwise there's going to be too many people. But we've got Miranda, Joe Coslin, Jamie Burgoyne and Connor have all sent in their predictions. Burgoyne said he did his a couple of weeks ago, so he wanted me to do the disclaimer there. And Jamie Davies didn't send any in because he doesn't want to jinx it, the league, because I think he thinks Manchester United are going to have a big season. That's what I'm going with anyway.
We've all got them six.
Yeah, we have actually so far.
There are a lot of ifs with Man United, aren't there? There are a lot of ifs with Man United, aren't there? If De Jong comes in, if Ronaldo leaves, if Ten Hag hits the ground running, there are a lot of. It's a bit unsure, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we've not talked about the obvious, the elephant in the room here. United in all of this.
Yeah, you haven't actually with Ronaldo and Ten Hag. I don't know. I think the Cristiano Ronaldo thing was telegraphed. I said he wouldn't last the 2 years a while ago, and then Ten Hag. I think there's lots of unknowns. He did really well at Ajax, but this is a different beast. The Premier League's a different beast, and obviously, I don't know too much about Martinez, the defender. I've not seen too much of him. Apparently, there's high hopes about him. I like Christian Eriksen, but how much game time is he going to have at Manchester United? I don't know. So it's going to be interesting on that front. I don't know what you guys think of Ronaldo and the situation.
Should he go? Should he stay? Yeah. I don't even know what to say. You know, if the stories are true, then you probably should go. Where does that leave United? The whole problem with United, he had the season that he was supposed to have. He did everything that he could for United, but he also hindered the way they play. So it's like, it's a difficult one with Ronaldo. Should he leave? I think he should, yeah. Not only for his own good, but I think for the sake of United now.
The one issue I had with Ronaldo going is they're basically left with like Martial and Rashford. I don't know if they've been linked with any forwards at all or anything.
And
I've not
Sesko.
seen any.
Sesko from Salt.
Oh, Benjamin Sesko.
Yeah, but that's about it, really.
Maybe Martial, Rashford, and Sancho might be this front three that we had not expected. It all makes sense, you know, Sancho on the right in his preferred position, Martial on the left, maybe, which I would say is his preferred position, and Rashford down the middle. Again, I think Rashford is probably better on the left wing. But who knows? This could really be a turn for Man United and playing an attacking three that we've wanted to see. Almost like that season where Solskjaer got the best out of Martial, Rashford, and who was it combined? Was it Greenwood as well?
Yeah.
So there's potential for that sort of front three again, and that elevating United to a position they deem themselves in. I don't know. It's hard to tell, and I still don't trust United defensively to do anything. I don't think I put United. Where did I put them? I think I put them 6th, and I think that's just about right. I don't see them doing any better than that, especially after losing caliber players like Pogba, really hard workers like Matic. I just don't see it. I don't see what they've added, except for Ten Hag, and I don't believe the hype should be that real around Ten Hag. I'm ready to be wrong.
And let's see what.
Such a huge job for him.
It is a huge job. Let's see what the others are predicted here. We'll start from Miranda, ladies first here. We've got champions. She's got Liverpool, runners up Manchester City. 3rd place is Arsenal. She's got high hopes for Arteta then. 4th place is Manchester United. Then she's got Spurs, Chelsea, West Ham, Leicester, Villa, Wolves, Palace, Brighton, Newcastle, Brentford, Southampton, Leeds, Forest, and in her bottom 3 she's got 18th Bournemouth, 19th she's got Everton, and 20th she's got Fulham, which is interesting.
If I was putting my neck on the line and going for an outlandish prediction, which I'm not going to because my prediction table was as seen, I'd say Wolves spend a fair amount of the first part of the season in the relegation zone.
Ooh. Right, I got the notification saying we've got 10 minutes left, so we'll go quickly on to Joe and then we'll analyse these. So we've got Crosland's gone, City as champions, Liverpool runners up, Spurs 3rd, Chelsea 4th, and you've got Arsenal, United, Palace in 7th place, Newcastle in 8th, and then he's got Brighton, West Ham, Wolves, Leicester, Villa in 13th, Everton 14th, Southampton 15th, Fulham 16th, Leeds 17th, Brentford, Bournemouth and Forest in the relegation zone. So he goes with me with Forest rock bottom. Then you've got Big Goy, who's gone City as champions. He's got Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs. And he's got West Ham, Villa, Newcastle, Leicester, Brentford, Brighton, Forest, Palace, Wolves, Southampton, Leeds. And he's got a bottom 3 of Everton, Fulham and Bournemouth. And finishing off with Connor, we've got Manchester City as champions. He's got Liverpool 2nd, Tottenham and Arsenal completing the top 4. Then he's got Chelsea in 5th, Manchester United 6th, West Ham in the Conference League. And he's got Newcastle, Wolves, Forest in high up in 10th place there. Brentford, Villa, Leicester, Brighton, Palace, Fulham, Everton just about surviving with Southampton, Leeds and Bournemouth in the bottom 3. So most of us across the board look like we've got a mixture of the newly promoted sides and either Southampton or Everton.
So me and Connor both have Southampton to go down because I just thought last season they were like atrocious. It was like, did they lose 10 in the last 12, I believe, and they were getting booed the last couple of games from their own fans. So, and their signings don't seem that good to me. So I haven't got the highest hopes for them this season. I
still think Hasenhüttl is one of the most underrated managers. And that's why I think they will be safe. But yeah, their signings aren't inspiring, are they? I mean, who's the goalkeeper that they brought in from Portsmouth? It doesn't really reap confidence, does it?
Yeah, I don't think Hayes and Hootles have like the best backing from like the board or anything.
And he should leave. He should leave because I think he is much, much better than that.
Yeah, he deserves a lot better than what he's getting.
Yeah, the big question is for Southampton, if Hassan Hootel were to walk, who did it get in? Because I just don't see it being that attractive job at the moment for anyone, really, across Europe. We do have a few comments in. Shahid Shah says Liverpool will finish champions, £98, City finish runners-up. Burgoyne says, lads, thoughts on Ajax's reported move for Lorenzo Luca. We'll get to that in a moment. Nick Nack said 3rd to 6th will be super close. Shahid Shah said he's happy that Liverpool won the Shield at the weekend. Nick Nack also says 16th to 19th will be closely fought as well. And Burgoyne says it's Gavin Bazuna is the goalkeeper that was at Portsmouth last season that the Southampton signed for Manchester City. And they agree that Southampton will scrap for survival, but Aribo looks like a good signing. So let's quickly have a look at Miranda's as well. I think top two, everyone seems to have gone for the same top two, whichever order it is, and then it's the top four that seems to be different between the whole lot of us. Really, we've either got a mixture of Arsenal, Spurs, United, or Chelsea. I do wonder with Miranda a little bit, and I'm sure she'd probably be honest with us that there's a little bit of bias in there with her being an Arsenal fan, and that's why she's missed out Spurs and Chelsea.
That's the one thing. Spice it up a bit, put a Newcastle in there.
Yeah. I do with Arsenal. I do find they look like they're nearly there, and each time they get to the line, they always seem to fall short. But I think Arteta may getting to cross that line to get top four this season. He's got rid of the poisonous characters now. And he's got his own players there, even though he can let them all shine.
Yeah, it's not very good, is it? I mean, why are they bringing in Zinchenko? Why are they bringing in Gabriel Jesus? I mean, their attacking force was never problematic. And left back, if Zinchenko is to play left back and not centre mid, is covered by Tierney. And Tierney's probably their best player. It doesn't really make sense. Arsenal's business doesn't make sense, but I like Arteta. That's why I think they won't be too bad. But I think it's strange.
I am really confused by the Zinchenko one. I agree with you about Tierney. I love Tierney. I think he is Arsenal's best player in my opinion. So I'm not sure if he'll play Zinchenko somewhere else, but
centre mid. He's a centre midfielder as well, isn't he? But the fact is that Tierney is injury prone, and that's a problem. I get that.
Yeah.
But you don't. But Nuno Mendes, Tavares.
Yeah.
Arteta doesn't like him, and probably for good reason. But that's better to have as a backup than Zinchenko, who might not be happy to sit on the bench for Arsenal that often. I don't know.
I do quite like the Jesus signing now. I think he'll be the type of workhorse which Arteta will quite enjoy, and he worked under him at Man City, so he knows what he's capable of.
Yeah, but that's what Lacazette was, a very hard worker, but not exactly a clinical finisher. Jesus proved us wrong at the end of the season, but apart from that, he's never been a clinical finisher. Well, maybe in Brazil, okay, I'll grant it. But at City, at his time at City, we can't say that he's been a clinical finisher, which is almost Lacazette's downfall as well. So he's replacing Lacazette with the Brazilian Lacazette.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I think where Jesus is more of a positive character as well. And
possibly. He looks like he's going to cry every time, though.
Oh, yeah. That's his natural look, though. So, and I find at City, he was all over the place. Sometimes he'd play on the left, sometimes he was on the right, sometimes in the centre. He never really had that consistency. So I wonder if his clinical play will improve if he's constantly down the centre. I might be wrong, but
that's not going to change under Arteta. Arteta's brought in Vieira, he's brought in Jesus, he's still got Martinelli, he's got Smith Rowe, he's got Saka. This is going to be turning around in the same sort of way as City. He's just bringing in City players to play a similar style up front. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't see the point.
Got a couple of comments. Burgoyne says he's the most signed player on Fantasy Premier League is Gabriel Jesus. Connor thinks 5 Premier League subs means Zinchenko will play a lot.
That's fair. That's very
Yeah, that
fair.
is fair.
And he's a versatile player. You know, he, as mentioned, he was initially a centre midfielder for Guardiola.
If we have a look at other people's predictions as well, you know, obviously I don't think there's anything that really stands out massively on Joe Crosland's list, to tell you the truth. I don't know if you guys agree on that one. With the top four, he's gone for City, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea, and then the bottom three, he's gone Brentford, Bournemouth, and Forest. So I don't think anything really stands out on that one. Goyners, he's gone for United and Arsenal to get in the top four, with Everton, Fulham, and Bournemouth going down. I think
Crosland's is similar to mine. You know,
Yeah, I was thinking that.
it's very similar to mine. And, you know, great minds, Joe.
And then we've got Connor, he's gone for City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal as the top four. And then he's gone for Southampton, Leeds, and Bournemouth to go down. So that's very similar again. Jamie Davis says, how far can England women go this season? It doesn't matter, it's home. So
It's
yeah,
home.
congratulations to the Lionesses, by the way, on that one.
Congratulations.
66 years of hurt gone. Right, we've got about a minute left on the thing. So quick one then. Top goal scorer. I'm going to go Mo Salah.
I'm going Haaland.
Oh,
Kane.
There we go. So yeah, this has been our Premier League predictions video. Thanks to Stu and Seb for joining us today, and thanks for everyone for joining the predictions. We want to see who gets the most points at the end of the season, and obviously the person with the worst score will have to face the dreaded forfeit, but the person with the best scores will win a prize, which is yet to be determined. Don't forget to like this video, comment on future Let's Talk Sport videos, and subscribe to the channel for more content, and we'll see you all very soon.